Sorry. Hello, entrepreneurs, people out there in accounting world, enrolled agent world, everybody out there interested in paying the least amount of taxes possible in the U.S. And my name is Joe DeCharis, CPA extraordinaire, and I am here with another extraordinary accountant, Janine, who is one of the only enrolled agents in the Philippines. So I am honored. I've been looking forward to this, Janine, to
Thank
talking to
you.
you about your journey, uh, how you got there, what you did to get there. And I think a lot of people will be empowered by your story. And that's you know me, and we've talked, and that's what I like to do. Uh, Pushing the boundaries, doing stuff that uh, most people wouldn't do, right? I mean, most people wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm going to hop on a plane and go to Korea." And did you go to Korea or Japan?
I went to Korea twice.
Okay, twice. Uh, so anyway, yeah, let's start here. What exactly is an enrolled agent? Because I get the feeling that a lot of people don't even
Mhm,
know what an enrolled agent is, what it means, and what you can do with that license.
mhm. So, an IRS enrolled agent is the highest credential given to someone by IRS. Um, you are by being an IRS enrolled agent, you are a tax practitioner in US, so you have a license in US, and as an enrolled agent, that license is acknowledged by the 50 states in US. So just like CPA and attorneys for tax matters, you have unlimited rights to represent clients on behalf before the IRS on behalf of the client. So let's say, aside from doing tax preparation work, you can go to the IRS and ask questions on behalf of the client. Those kind of things.
All right, can I make it a little simpler?
All right, okay.
You could save people. You could save people from getting harassed and abused by the IRS, right?
That's true.
The enrolled agent is a license. It's the only license that the IRS issues to
That's true.
allow people like you to go to war for U.S. taxpayers, and that's a pretty big. Uh, what could I say? Not many people can do that. Not many people can get on the phone with the IRS and say, listen, stop harassing my client, right?
hmm
That's powerful. That's powerful. So you either have to be a CPA, an attorney, or an enrolled agent.
That's right.
That's the only people that the IRS will deal with. Oh, yeah, they'll deal directly with the client. Okay, but we don't like when our clients deal with the IRS, right?
hmm That's true.
So what spurred you to go for this designation?
Well, I'm looking for. It's been a long time that because just a background, I've been in accounting industry, working with different accounting firms from here in the Philippines, and then Canadian clients, accounting firms, and then U.S. accounting firms for in total around 7 years before I took the exam for enrolled agent. So I want something that I can add more value to the client, but it's just that I am a CPA here in the Philippines, but that license is not enough for me to um, act on behalf of the client or talk to the government so that I can help the client save their time so that I can do the work for them. So that's why I'm looking for international designation. And it's um it's not intentional that in just in an interview, I was asked if I am an enrolled agent, and then I don't know about it. So that's just a very I'm lucky to have to be in that interview. So I was not selected by the way on that interview, but because of that interview, I got curious and then I researched what is an enrolled agent. I don't have to be in the US. So, but of course, it's just that I need to prepare for it because it's three hard exams and that's not, and you will have a license in US. So that's a big deal.
So yeah, it's three parts. It's
Hmm.
not something, and you know because we're working together on teaching this,
Hmm.
and and you know even in the U.S. and I've been talking about this. Most U.S. business owners and individuals don't even know what an enrolled agent is. You know, and the truth is, you know, you could be a CPA, you can be an attorney and know nothing at all about taxes. But if you're an enrolled agent, you're an expert in taxes. So it's like a done deal. I've had so many people ask me about, you know, people that couldn't hire me for whatever reason, and they would ask me like, who should I look for? And I would always tell them an enrolled agent
Mm,
because you know that they know taxes,
yeah.
right? So, you know, and for myself, I didn't know that you didn't have to be a US citizen to become an enrolled agent. I learned by accident, sort of like you. Okay, one of my students asked me, they said, "Do you have to be a US citizen to be an enrolled agent?" And normally I would have said, "Yeah, of course you got to be."
Mhm.
We we when somebody asks me a question like that, I'm like, well, I don't really know the answer because nobody asked me that, and I was astounded. I was astounded that you don't actually have to be. You don't need to have a social security number. You don't even ever have to go to the United States, and that opened up. You know, for me, I said, oh my God, that means that there's so many people out there like you that are qualified. They have the experience. All you need to do is take the test.
Yeah.
And you know, I want to thank you because you know you're an example. You're like the poster woman for what people can do. Okay,
Yes,
so
you just have to do the extra mile.
I'm sorry.
You just have to do the extra mile just to have it, the license.
Yeah. So tell me about what. So you did this during COVID, right? Was it COVID or was it before COVID?
Uh, it's still during COVID times, but it's not as bad as in 2019 because I did the exam 2022. So I was able to went to Korea because other countries are opening for the tourists.
Okay,
So
so yeah, obviously they weren't doing the test during COVID, but you were studying during COVID, weren't you?
yes, 20 I started doing well, the planning stage is in 2021, but the actual studies I did it in 2022. So same year I did the review and I took the exam.
So tell me, how did you prepare for this?
Okay. The just the review phase or even the planning on.
What you know? I could tell you how I prepared for the CPA exam.
Mm-hmm.
I studied, I did practice questions, I studied, I did thousands of practice questions. That's how I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well,
I
somehow.
got a review course. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not the kind of person that can actually go to a classroom, and because that's just not, they were too slow for me. I tried it, but they gave me all the material. So I pretty much did like my own self. I had all the material and I just studied on my own.
Mm-hmm.
How did you do it?
Me, it's more of like that, self-paced as well, because my setup that time is I'm a freelance accountant. So I have clients on the side, so I don't have a full clear schedule. So I need to. So yeah, the same with you. I purchase a course. That course have a book and then a video and then, but I don't have somewhat like a community, so it's more of self-paced. So since it's a self-paced, I have to be disciplined. That's the challenge. It's me. I am the enemy of myself. So I have to be disciplined. That if I commit that I'm gonna took the exam on August and October of 2022, because when I first then when I purchased the review course, I have a plan at that time on how many weeks should I prepare for every part. Let's say for part one, I need 8 weeks because that's individual. I am kind of not so strong on that part. So part two, my specialty is business tax returns experience wise, so I can do 6 weeks for that. And then the part three, I dedicate like 4 weeks. But of course, expectation versus reality, it doesn't really. When it comes to execution, it doesn't really happen like that. So what happened is consistently I design I dedicate like 2 hours maximum, minimum of 1 hour for the weekday to have to take the review, and then every weekend I dedicate 6 hours because that's something that I can control my time. I don't have
Sure.
much time.
That's about, let's say, 15 hours a week.
Mm, yes.
Yeah, that,
And
and that's pretty much, I tell our students, you got to commit at least 10 to 15 hours a week to this.
yes, because that way I build the habit of um, instilling the concepts and at the same time taking questions because um, the the exam they are 100 questions and you have to take it in 3.5 hours. It's actually 4 hours, but the 30 minutes is for the orientation part. So it's kind of with all the mixed emotions when you are in the exam. So you have to be you practice yourself to be calm and at the same time be logical so that you were able to be able to answer the questions. But yeah, that's how basically I it's more of habit.
Yeah, and that's how I passed the CPA exam.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how I did it. I don't see any way around it. But now, did you spend more time on the questions, or did you spend more time like trying to learn the tax laws?
Ah, so it's more on the question so that I have like a strategy because you have to assess as well yourself on how you when you see a question whether it's a short question or a full question with some calculations that needed. So that's where I focus more on dealing with the questions that I don't know. So let's say for today, uh, I will read one chapter for that 1 hour and then I'll take 20 questions. If I wasn't able to have at least 90% score, I won't stop because I have to be not perfect, but at least I know that that specific matter of the part of the exam, I'm enough good enough for that so that I can move forward.
So now, how much actual practical tax experience did you have before this?
Before I only have 1.5 years when before taking the exam. years of preparation, but that preparation, tax preparation of business tax returns. That's why initially I mentioned that individual wise, that's my weakest point. So because there's a lot of concepts for the part one.
Yeah. So yeah, and I agree with you. The individual part is definitely the most complicated,
Mm,
comprehensive part of the exam. I still, I've been doing this 40 years, and if I sat down for the exam right now, I probably wouldn't pass. Okay, because there's a lot of stuff on there that you don't always, you just don't come across it. You just
exactly.
don't come across it in the regular course of business. So you go now. I know you didn't pass all three parts the first
Mm,
time, right?
true, true.
And I didn't pass all four parts of the CPA exam the first time either. So, and there's a reason for that, and I want to bring that up. But can you talk to us about that?
Yeah. So there are three parts of the exam. The part three, when you search for in the internet, part three is by research. That's the eas mm, easiest, and most of the time the examinees pass the first time. But on my case, because I thought it's the easiest, I initially I mentioned I budgeted like 4 weeks for part three, but when I first took the exam, I just studied for 1 week because I thought, yeah, it was easy, and I reviewed for part one. Most of the concepts of part three you've already encountered in part one and part two when you review it. So
There's overlap, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
so
there's
I
over.
was like kind of confident that maybe it's 1 week is enough,
Yeah,
but it's not.
overconfident, overconfident.
Yes. So by just basing everything in the internet that it's easy, I I don't think it's really easy. But so you really whatever dedication you gave to part one and part two, because it's the hardest. It's in the internet. You can search for it on how the examiners feel about it. It's the hardest, and me too. I gave the same perspective, but yeah, you still need to give the dedication that you give to part one and two to the other, which is to part B, which is the easiest, but it's
So
not.
you just didn't put the effort in on part three. You didn't
Yeah,
do
take it
the,
for granted.
yeah, you took it for granted, and I could understand that. For me, uh, I don't like auditing. So there's
Mm,
four parts of the CPA exam. I passed the first three first shot. Okay, I didn't like auditing, so I didn't study that hard, and I didn't pass, and that was devastating because all I had to do, that was the last part, and then all I needed was the experience. But
mhm.
I learned my lesson. I'm like, I don't want to take this again, so then I put the time in. So for anybody that, if anybody's out there thinking about taking this test, don't take any of it for granted. The only way I believe, and I've talked to a lot of people now about this, the only people that I see that have passed have put the time in. They put the time in, they studied, and not only study, they do the practice questions. And just like you said, what I heard was you would study the content, do the questions, and then if you were strong in it, you would
Mhm.
move on, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So you don't have to keep, and it's sort of like, we like being right, right?
Exactly.
We like answering a question and getting it right. It makes you
Mhm.
feel, and
Good.
when you get a question wrong, you're like, and
Devastated.
that's what happened to me with auditing. I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't enjoy it. So it was like I just, and I didn't know what I know now. It's like it's almost like you gotta step out of your comfort zone, right?
Exactly.
You gotta spend the time on stuff you don't know, and sometimes it makes your head spin. But if you're out there and you're thinking about becoming an enrolled agent, I don't know any other way. Unless, I'm watching the show on Netflix. It's called Suits.
Mm.
Never heard of it. There's a guy on there, there's a character, Mike Ross, and he's got a photogenic memory. Not many people are like that,
Yeah.
right?
Well, even if you have photographic memory, and then let's say that that's a friend of yours taking the exam, I think since the exam is throughout the year, it's not the same exam when, let's say, because when I remember I failed part two. When I took the exam again in October, it's not the same exam. So even if
They
you have
change it.
photographic
They change it,
memory,
right? They
yes,
change the
you change
question.
it. But it's
Not
the
only
same based
that,
on
they
experience.
try to trick you, right?
Mm,
They try to trick you with the wording. With they use double negatives, so yeah, you got to pay attention. So it's not even you. So I believe you could know the tax law, you could know what it's supposed to be, but if you don't read the question thoroughly, you could get tricked. Would you agree with that?
true, true. Most of the questions are like that. Like there's a two best answers in the questions, and that's the thrilling part. Which one is the best answer?
Right. You look at it and you're like, well, both of these look like they're right, right?
Exactly.
And then they got the what I call the information overload questions, right?
True.
They'll tell you like it was raining out and they were eating dinner, and you're like, that has nothing to do with the question.
Mhm. Exactly.
Yeah. So all right, so you you find out you can become an enrolled agent, you
Hmm.
take it up, you study, you travel to Korea. What did you go there twice?
Yes, twice. So
Okay, you
summer
only
and autumn.
you didn't pass one of the parts,
Mm.
right? So you learn the hard way. And you probably said what I said when I didn't pass the auditing part. You probably said, I'm not doing this again, right?
Yes,
You didn't
definitely.
want to go to Korea a third time.
Yes.
Yeah, that's motivation. So when you take the exam, you said it's 3.5 hours, right?
Mm.
Okay, and you do 100 questions, and then you got to push a button, right?
Yes, and then a few seconds, you will know whether you pass or fail.
How does that feel?
It's really, I mean, I don't know if I should select this, if I should select the button, if I'm ready to know the result, but I'm excited at the same time to know the result because I want
Like,
it
are you
done.
sitting there like, should I push the button? Should I
Yes,
go back? Should I go back and like, make sure I got all the questions right?
true. But take note, I can't go back to the rest of the 100 questions
Oh,
because
you can't go back.
um, the first 50 questions, when you submit it, you cannot go back into it. The second half only.
Oh, I see. So what is it? There's two parts.
Yeah, the 100 questions. So the 3.5 hours is dedicated for the rest of the 100 questions. There's a 15-minute break on that 3.5 hour, but it's up to
Okay.
you if you take it or not. So on the first 50 questions, once you submit it, it's done deal. You can't go back. That's why it's always important to review it. Give enough time to for the review part, and then there's a 15-minute break. You can maximize it. You may not. It's your preference. And then that's the after that break, it's the second half. And then
Okay.
after the second half, you submit. Then boom, you will know whether you pass or fail.
Okay. So I'm just wondering. I'm like, because with the CPA exam, you take it, and then we had to wait
Mm,
a month, and then
okay.
they would mail it to you, and then you get the envelope, and you're like, oh my god, did I pass? But you're sitting there, and like you could just push the button, and then if you passed or failed, right?
Yeah.
That's got to be like, yeah, exciting and scary all at the same time, right?
Mhm.
So you push the button and you pass. How does that feel?
Of course, it's a great feeling, but the thing is, when I pass, I have another scheduled exam the next day. So yes, I'm grateful. Yes, I'm thankful. But at the same time, I want to go home so that I can still, go through my review materials, the last scan. Not so deep dive review, but just scanning the review materials so that I'm prepared
Wait,
enough for the
did
next
you
day.
take, what was it? Did you take two parts in one day?
No, no, no. So, well, you can do that because
You
there's
can.
only
Okay.
two
I wouldn't
schedules.
recommend that. That's got to, yeah, that's too much emotion.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want. There's too much stress already being there, so I don't want to deal with two exams on the same day. That's why I schedule it the next day.
Okay, so you can take all three parts like in a couple of days, right?
Yes, yes,
Okay, so if you have to travel to another country, you could schedule it so it's, in a couple of days you could
yeah.
actually get
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing. And the exam used to be in Manila.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
You know that. And for some reason in 2016 they stopped offering it. Probably because there's just not that many people in the Philippines were looking to take the test.
Yeah, that's one.
But we're working on getting that back into Manila. Uh, and you're helping us do that because who wants to get on a plane? And I mean,
Yeah,
I would love to go to Korea to like just visit, but not to go to and take a test,
exactly.
right?
No one wants that.
So wow, I have a lot of respect for you for doing that. And so now you pass the exam, you get your enrolled agent license, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do next?
So, when I pass the exam, there's a background check because even if you pass the exam, you need to apply to become officially an IRS enrolled agent. So
They
there's
do like a suitability check, right?
yeah, the
Yeah,
suitability
so
check.
they want to make sure you're not a criminal or,
Hmm.
you know,
Exactly.
yeah. So
So
you have to
for
have,
for
yeah.
that, I think the license already issued as of October, the same month that I passed the exam, the last exam. But since the IRS is not sending email notification, you will get the actual certificate and you'll know the that you passed the suitability check through the mailbox. So since if I am in the US, I'll get it by October. But since I'm in the Philippines, I got the letter and the certification by December. So that's the
Oh,
time that I officially call myself like an enrolled agent. So it's not even a year when I pass for me because it's not yet December. That's the month that I consider that I'm officially an enrolled
so
agent.
so hold on a second. So you're telling me from the time that you decided to do it to the time that you actually got your license was less than a year?
Yeah.
Wow. Because some people it takes years.
Mhm.
It literally takes years. I mean, and I know that the IRS has rules because you can't, you know, once you pass one part, you only have a certain amount of time to pass the other two parts, right?
Yeah, 2 years. It will be your
Wow.
passing is valid for 2 years.
So you studied and passed all within 1 year. Because
Mhm.
I think part of the obstacle for people to do this is they just think it's going to take too much
Mhm.
time, too much effort. But for you to do that within 1 year, that's amazing. That's
Right.
amazing because I know for me with the CPA exam, it took years.
Mhm.
It literally took years, and that's I hope a lot of people are watching this because I know that if they hear your story, they'll say, "Oh my God, if Janine did this, maybe I can do it," right? So
Well,
now you have, so what was this, December 2022?
um, the official license I received it December 2022.
Wow, see this, you're not even a year old.
Yeah, a quarter,
Yes.
uh, like 9 months of as
But
enrolled.
now, so I'm just thinking December, that's right before tax season. Were you able to leverage that? Like, were you able to go out and get a position with an accounting firm?
Yes, so basically, the last exam that I took is October. So at that time, I was already after the exam, so I just took the time to take a rest. But by November, I already because unofficially I'm enrolled agent already. It's just that I don't have the exact certification that I can show the client that here's my EA license number. So I just have
Yeah,
for
but
the
if you're looking, you could have, you told them, listen, I passed, I'm just waiting for the
yeah.
actual, like, okay.
So I by how I told them I am an enrolled agent exam passer. So but then I'm still I've been transparent that I'm still waiting for the actual certification. So I've been finding opportunities, and then by December when I officially received the certification, that's the time I put my I added the EA designation with my name. So even though I'm going to different firms for opportunities. There's when people see already that oh, there's an EA. So
What
because of oh,
what
sorry.
were what was their reaction? Because I was shocked and I only learned last year. I was like, oh my God, you don't have to, you could be anywhere in the world to be an enrolled agent. And I'm in this business for over 40 years,
Mhm.
over 40 years. So I'm just wondering, like, okay, if I'm looking for an accountant and I'm talking to somebody from the Philippines, the last thing I would think was that they're an enrolled agent. What
Mhm.
kind of response did you get?
Uh, well, most of them are they're actually surprised, but since I already put the EA designation with my name
Oh,
and
they
everything,
already know. They
they
already know.
already they do their background check if it's legit what is EA because they kind of have a background about it but not the entire details, so they kind of knew whenever they interact with me. That's why they're interested to meet me.
Yes, so I would think because the accounting industry in the United States, there's a serious lack of talent, and I know this because for decades I was looking for people that could work with me,
Hmm.
and just through a series of events, I found people in the Philippines that fit, with what I do. It was just a great match. It was just a great match. So now it's December. You're going right into tax season, right?
Hmm.
It's right before tax season. So you must have been in high demand.
Kind of. I mean, not to brag, but that's something that's my high time. I felt like in the entire career that I have because it's a big deal because most of the recruiters are Filipinos as well. And then, but the actual employer is the are the U.S. based company. So they were like excited for me because they it's like they know that there's just a few enrolled agents as of the moment with in the Philippines, and they're happy if I'm gonna be part of their company. So I feel like yeah.
Yes, so you're not bragging. You're not bragging. It's what you did is really amazing. And I believe that a lot more people can do what you're doing, what you've done. And I think it's a matter of they just don't know about it. They don't know what kind of doors it could open. And
Mm-hmm.
I know you probably commanded a pretty good salary, right? We
Yeah.
don't You don't have to share that, but I know that enrolled agents, anyone that can prepare tax returns in the U.S. is going to be in demand. And I could run some of the numbers by you. I know there's less than 70,000 enrolled agents in the whole world. There's over 30 million businesses in the United States. They all have to file a tax return. Okay, do the math. That's not including over 200 million individuals that
Mm-hmm.
have to file tax returns.
That's true.
There's just not enough tax preparers out there to service all of those people. And you know what happens, Janine? A lot of them wind up doing it themselves. They wind up doing their tax returns themselves because either they can't find somebody or they can't afford them or they think they can afford them. So that's why I'm thinking, oh my God, if I knew you were available last year, you probably would have been working for me during tax season. So it's really, what you've done is really special, and I think it's important that people know uh, about you, about you, and that's why we invited you to be one of our what did we call you, special guest in our Jumpstart.
Freelancing career year two.
Yeah, jumpstart your freelancing career. Second year, it's going to be, and I know Belle is here. Belle, if you can put the link in the chat there, because I'm not that prepared. I don't do stuff like that. But if you want to meet Janine and talk to her one on one about what she's done, what she's accomplished, and Janine, I know we've gotten to work together. I've gotten to talk to you. You're really a blessing. Yeah, you're really a blessing. I'm so glad that we connected. But I'll tell you this right now: you haven't even begun yet. You haven't even begun. You haven't even hit the tip of the iceberg. Believe me. I mean, the doors of opportunity are there. I'm looking forward to working with you on a long-term basis and just seeing, what you do.
Mm-hmm. That's
Okay.
nice to hear.
So,
That's great.
yeah, I mean, the opportunities are unlimited. I call it the perfect storm of opportunity in the United States. Now, I know you also do work in Canada too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You're like a Canadian tax expert, right?
Yes. So I do Canadian tax returns as well. So I
I don't
have.
I don't want to touch Canadian taxes. It's like, yeah, I used to do them, and I'm like, yeah, I got enough to do. What I realized, Janine, is there's more than enough work in the United States,
Mhm.
right? But that there is a big demand for people to, because Canada they have a lot of people that need taxes too, right? So if you're watching this and you're sitting at home and you have a regular corporate job and you're miserable, okay, you don't want to make that commute every day, right? Because you work remotely. See,
Mhm.
that's another thing that people have to realize.
Mhm.
I've been working remotely for over 20 years. So all the work you do is you don't have to
Virtual.
commute, right?
Yeah.
That's a
So
big.
right now I have flexibility. So of course there are times of demand that as an accountant tax accountant, I'm kind of busy, just a few days of demand, but the rest I can control my schedule. That's why I really love being a remote accountant.
It's freedom,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
It's freedom, and I could relate to that. I remember working at a accounting firm, sitting at a desk. I felt like I was in a jail cell, right? And it doesn't have to be like that anymore. So if you're watching this and you know you're listening to Janine's story, and I could tell you people on our team were in the same position. They had a corporate job. They wanted to be home with their family. They wanted to, you know, work their own schedule, whether because they had kids or they had family to take care of, or they just didn't, if, or they were like me and they just didn't like commuting. Yeah, commuting was not a fun thing. I remember always saying, like, what a waste of time. What a waste of time sitting in my car to drive somewhere. And then once I found out I could do this remotely, it's like the whole, listen, I'm in the Philippines now. All my clients are in the US. They don't even, most of them don't even know that I'm here. And they don't have to know that I'm here. It doesn't matter. They don't, as long as I'm doing the job, they don't care.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
So it's a powerful thing, not only, you know, to be a freelancer, but for you to go out and get that enrolled agent designation. I just want you to know how special that is, you know. And it's not bragging. I think by you, you know, doing an interview like this, by attending our Jumpstart event, it's just the beginning, Janine. It's just the beginning, Janine, because, you know, people need to hear your story.
Mhm.
Okay, I hope you realize it. Uh, you will be empowering a lot of people, right?
Hopefully one day, when we hear the word enrolled agent, Philippines is part of those. The one of the highest number of enrolled agents listed in IRS website.
We're on the same page. We're on a mission, folks, right, Janine?
One day,
Yeah, we
then we
want to
hear
teach people.
this
Listen,
comes from.
yeah, you know, we at Bedrock, we're doing this course teaching people how to become an enrolled agent.
Mhm.
Uh, but the fact is that people have to become aware of it. They have to become aware of it. What I'm seeing in Bedrock is a lot of people want to learn about payroll. They want to learn how to do U.S. taxes. They don't know how powerful it is to become an enrolled agent.
Mhm.
And for you to do it in less than a year, that's amazing. That's really amazing. So you need to get out there and talk about this, not in a you know, like I'm boasting.
Mhm.
It's sort of like you're putting it out there. You're telling people, listen, I did this, and you can do it. And hopefully, we'll get this test back in Manila, so people won't have to actually get on a plane, right?
Yeah. I don't want them to experience the same thing because, well, just a fun story. This is a quick one. So, my last exam is part two. So, when I went back to Korea, I just have 5 days. So, I was scheduled for part two as of October 3. So, that's my first exam to take. And then the other one is October 4, which is the part two. But then on the day that I have to take the part two, um, in the building there's electricity, but there's no internet connection. So the rest of the examinees, which is included there, cannot take any exam. So it's not just the IRS enrolled agent exam. So I only have the option to schedule for the next day, but it's fully booked. So my last day is October 7 in Korea, and it's the day as well that another schedule is available. So I have to take the exam on the morning, and then in the afternoon is my flight. So that's kind of another emotional stage for me. So I don't want people to experience that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why hopefully we can put back, return the exam in the Philippines.
yeah, I got you. We're gonna do our best to get it back here. So, any words of wisdom for people out there that are on the fence?
Well, for people who wants to have an advancement in their career and wanting to have an international designation, enrolled agent probably fits to you because this won't just increase your confidence in dealing with clients or starting your freelancing career. It will also give you more credibility to your clients because that being an enrolled agent, you are licensed in 50 states in US. So you are a tax practitioner, you are a tax specialist. So if I can do it with me just living here in the Philippines, but just taking the exam, taking the extra mile, then definitely you can do it too as well. So right now I'm living in, so I'm not, for me, I'm happy with what I have. Of course, there's a lot of opportunities coming. Even if I'm not a year enrolled agent, I was able to, financially speaking, there are some goals that I was able to achieve because of being enrolled agent, because of the opportunities that came after that. So hopefully, what I experienced, you can experience that too. Okay.
Awesome. God bless you. All right, Janine. If people want to get in touch with you, how do they reach out to you? Because I'm
Well,
pretty sure people are going to want to say, "Hey, Janine, I saw you on that interview, and I just want to say thank you." How do they do that?
all right. So I am on LinkedIn and I have as well a YouTube channel. So it's just, I just started it. But yeah, I will definitely share it with you guys, the link. So hopefully you can support me on that one. That's Janine EA, where I share as well my story and some stuff related to Canadian and US tax accounting.
Awesome. So that's the story, folks. We're sticking with it. I highly, highly recommend that you connect with Janine. She is a rising star. I guarantee it. I can predict the future. Uh, and that's it. Thank you
Thank
so much,
you.
Janine. Thank you so
Thank you
much. I'm
so
really
much.
excited to
So
work
happy
with
Friday,
you.
everyone.
Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone. Good night, and looking forward to connecting with all of you at some point. Thank you.